one of the things I think in life that I've always wanted to be able to do is to see the beginning from the end and see the end from the beginning. I always thought it would be cool to be able to do something like that. But it's life. I mean, what can you do that with, you know? And music came along in my life. And it really started to happen that way. I was producing music. I was able to hear things of the end product before I even started it. And then when I started it, people would say, well, especially when they're in the studio with me, they go, "Are you serious?" And I'm like, "Man, yeah, I'm serious. This is it." You know, just follow me, you know. And I think as I've adapted, as time has gone by, I've learned more and more about what to do. Less is more. Going after the desires that you have in music and executing them, being able to put them down on sheet music and the melody and executing it professionally as well as artistically, and not losing the quality of each, you know, of either. And that's something that's always been a stick to me. That's why I love it so much. It's constantly evolving. It's constantly moving. And a lot of industry can't say that. A lot of markets can't say that, because music is constantly growing. And I think a lot of people can adapt. Wyze came into play when I was at a construction site. The name came about when I was at a construction site working my job, and it was I think it was summer of 2003, and I remembered that I was rapping with a group, and we were trying to figure out a name for this group. We couldn't figure out the name. We knew we wanted to move in a professional setting and taking our music to the next level, and we didn't know how to do that. We said, oh, you know, if we're gonna take our music up, then we have to figure out how to go about it. I was at the construction site. I was driving a truck to move to a dumpster, and I was backing the truck up so that we can conveniently move the stuff from the truck to the dumpster. Makes sense. So without having to carry it across the yard. And building houses, very loud, very busy, but it's like everything got quiet in my mind, at least. You know, all that ruckus you get, everything got quiet in my mind, and I started to focus. And I started to see what was happening. And from that, I was able to really see that this is what my company is supposed to be. Because on the side of that dumpster, it said Wyze. And it looked like a graffiti. And I was not impressed with the graffiti. I thought it was pretty poor that a person writes graffiti on the side of a waste management dumpster just because of the dumpster. Especially in a very nice neighborhood. But hey, it is what it is. So, you know, it is meant to be, I tell you that. And my influence is definitely in life, God, #1, period, bottom line. Everything around him, in that, my family and my wife, my children, they inspire me even at times that I'm pretty sure they think they're getting on my nerves, because you can always make music accordingly. Music is an emotion, it's a language, it's a drive, it's a descriptive breakdown of you, and you could be telling somebody else's life story through your music, and that's something that's always it's always cool, because it gives you a lot of power, but at the same time there's a lot of responsibility with that power, you know. Whew. That's a good one. I'm gonna tell you, I think the industry is moving in a very odd direction, and really the whole reason why this company exists, distribution, performance, and production, Wyze LLC, the reason it exists is because the industry is rapidly changing, and it's going, and I know we hear that so regularly, but it really is in America. But if people would really get up and see it, it's kind of like when the age of the computer came in. People in their homes weren't getting with the program, but a lot of companies were. So what started to happen was there was this rising up of computers going in every home but not being utilized accordingly. But these computers were going in businesses and they were capitalizing on it. And now, even now today, you could take your career and move it and blossom it forth, without spending $1, but it still leaves certain things lacking, of course. And I think that's really where we come into play. Anybody can write a song, well, everybody can't, but a lot of people can write good songs, put them on YouTube, play them on the air, get them on radio even, and get somewhere with it, but don't have direction in their career, don't have direction in their sound, and they don't have direction in the things that they want to accomplish. And it makes it harder to be able to it makes it hard to express your art later on down the road. I think with direction and knowing who you are, helping you identify yourself, I think that's very important in music, because there's almost an identity that people fail to see within themselves when it comes to music. It's not an alter ego, it's not a schizophrenic type of dialogue or schizophrenic type of operation. You know, you're not to talk to yourself, but what is there is it's an adjustment to who you are almost. You know, you're on stage, you have to be able to execute accordingly, and if you can't, then it's a clear indicator of what you're ready to do and what you're not ready to do. Because at the end of the day, one thing that's not going to change about the music industry is the elements in which there is to do things and how there are to execute. The concert will always last. You know, the studio will always be there. And the outlets in which you get your music out will always be there. So those are all major things. There are things that I always get concerned about in running this company, because people don't know your value like you know your value until they start to believe in what you're doing, until they start to believe in you, and not as a person, but your company has to have a special part of you. And even if there's a lack of money to do what you want to do, you still got a chance to show people what you really have. And I think that that's something that it sparks something in me every time, because like there's always something to prove, you know. And sometimes that fuels people. I know it fuels me. And being able to prove something to get yourself out in the mainstream, or being able to prove something to get your music out and heard and listened to and actually appreciated by certain people, that's always a reason to keep doing music. You always want to be able to have an inspiration, because people, they are, at the end of the day, the naysayers of whether your music is good enough or not. And that's just that.